Let's go. Since the dawn of time, there was man. Except that's fake news.
Hi, I'm Taz. We're going to be going over the Pussyhat and the Rainbow Turban today, both of which arose around 2017 in the United States. Humans like to believe that they are the center of existence, especially within the United States. So before we get into these specimens, we're going to go over some loose history. The one thing that we point to distinguish man versus beast is our cognitive abilities. One of the most prominent features of early human skulls was the brow bone, and there are many theories as to why. 1. It was protective. It shielded early human eyes from rain and sun. 2. People believed that it aided in chewing. However, most anthropologists believe that it was just plain sexy. It functioned as a status symbol, indicating that the bigger the brow, the bigger the dominance. Over time, brains got bigger and the shape of the skull changed. The prominent brow bone diminished. So now how do humans protect their eyes and show their social status? Hats, or other forms of head coverings. In a modern context, hats and head coverings can take on many different meanings and indications. It could be protection, to show status, or as part of a way of life and religion. Let's set the scene. In 2016, to the shock and despair of many, Donald Trump wins the presidential election and becomes the next United States president. Morale in marginalized communities has taken an all-time low. However, people were still inspired to take action. In January of 2017, a women's march is set to take place on Trump's first day in office and is flooded with a sea of pussy hats. Later, in June of 2017, the rainbow turban goes viral at San Diego's Pride. We will now delve into analyzing the specimens, the Pussyhat and the Rainbow Turban. However, we cannot address these head coverings in the context of 2017 without addressing a third specimen, the MAGA hat. The MAGA hat is the most recognizable of the collateral materials from Trump's presidential campaign. It has a variety of different meanings, but among marginalized communities, it has come to mean hate, misogyny, and homophobia. Luckily, today we will be talking about specimens that mean equality and justice. Regardless if the pussy hat and the rainbow turban intentionally wanted to respond to the MAGA hat, since they are both head coverings that were created around the same time, they are in conversation with the MAGA hat. We will first discuss the pussy hat. Gearing up for a cold march in Washington, D.C., Southern California native art queen Krista Suh had an idea and immediately texted the leader of her knitting circle, Kat Cole. Suh is a screenwriter from Orange County, a novice knitter, and a member of the Little Knittery in LA. She was in search of a way to keep her head warm from the march, and with the help of Kat Cole and Jana Zweiman, the pussy hat was born. The pussy hat is an icon alluding to both cats and female genitalia. Through its use in the Women's March, it has come to be known as a symbol for women's rights. Suh wanted the pattern to be able to be made by anyone. The simple design of a rectangle of knitted yarn folded in half is achievable by knitters and non-knitters alike. Little intentional online organization was done for the Pussy Hat project initially. But because the concept was so strong, and the fact that it alluded to Trump's crude comments about grabbing women by the pussy, it became a viral sensation. Due to its simple design, the pussy hat is a very proportional and balanced piece that lends itself to movement. It's symmetrically balanced with even weight on either side, and due to its construction, it has a 2-to-1 proportional ratio. While the pussy hat is composed of literal lines with the edges of the form, the more intriguing lines are the implied lines. The tips of the ears lead the viewer's eyes outwards, and in the context of the Women's March in a sea of pussy hats, it leads the viewer's eyes outward and towards other pussy hats. The pussy hat transcends design dimensions, moving from a 2D sheet of woven yarn to a 3D hat to a sea of pink at a Women's March. Its texture is soft and it is made of yarn. The fiber arts have often been seen as a woman's art medium, stemming from the Bauhaus school. The pussy hat uses yarn as its material, not only for warmth, but to associate the fiber arts with feminine power. Lastly, Suh understood that any color chosen would be scrutinized, so in the power of reclaiming things, pink was reclaimed in the Pussy Hat project to unite the concepts of pink, femininity, and strength. Our next visual specimen was made popular by Jivan Kohli. Jivan describes himself as a bisexual, bearded, baking brain scientist. He is a person who works in neuroscience, is part of the queer community, and loves to bake. He often makes rainbow-colored desserts for every Pride season. He is a Punjabi from the region of Punjab in India and follows the religion of Sikhism. Wearing a turban is one of the core practices for men in Sikhism. Jivan states that to wear a turban is to show the world that you stand for equality and justice, making it a symbol for those principles. Unfortunately, in the context of the United States, it is also a symbol of otherness to many Americans, simply because Sikhism is not a majority religion. However, Jivan found that when he united his turban with the rainbow, a symbol of the queer community, he got an overwhelmingly positive response and interaction. Unlike the Pussyhat, the rainbow turban is a more complicated design. To relate it to the terms of this class, it would most likely be considered couture. Not because it's unachievable to do this head wrap, but it's unachievable to do it on yourself, because it is reserved for Sikhs. No marketing was done for this specimen, as it was more a vehicle of Kohli's personal expression and identity as a bisexual Sikh, but it still had an enormously positive response on the internet. Much like the Pussyhat pattern, a turban is made from a 2D sheet of soft strata into a 3D form worn on the head, but it does differ in balance, line, and movement, as well as the address of color. The rainbow turban is asymmetrical because of the layering of the fabric, but it is still balanced in visual weight of the form. Due to the way the fabric is layered, instead of leading the viewer's eye outward like the Pussyhat, it spirals the viewer's eye upwards. Lastly, while the Pussyhat was various shades and tints of one color, the rainbow turban is black as its base color, with rainbow fabric accents to allude to queer solidarity and identity. The Pussyhat and the Rainbow Turban are two head coverings that arose in the media in the United States around 2017. One became a massive movement for women across the nation, displaying protection for women's rights and indicating a woman's social stance, while the other was a beautiful form of self-expression, proudly displaying Kohli's identity. Both visual specimens became viral symbols for equality and justice.